When we think of Indian history, it's easy to jump straight to the British Raj, but that's like starting a truly epic movie just before the credits roll. For thousands of years before the Union Jack was ever raised, the Indian subcontinent was a vibrant, shifting mosaic of powerful empires. These weren't just kingdoms, they were world-leading civilizations, bursting with wealth, brilliant ideas, and military might. Today, we're exploring the giants of pre-colonial India. From emperors who commanded vast armies to philosopher-kings who championed peace, these dynasties didn't just rule a piece of land. They forged the very soul of India. The Maurya Empire, circa 322 to 185 BCE. Our story begins with one of the first great empires to unite a vast portion of the subcontinent, the Mauryan Empire. Before the Mauryas, India was largely a patchwork of competing states, but out of this chaos rose a founder, Chandragupta Maurya. Guided by his famously shrewd advisor, Chanakya, Chandragupta achieved what many thought was impossible. He built an empire that would eventually stretch across almost all of India. Chandragupta's real genius was in creating a highly centralized and organized government. This wasn't just a machine for conquest, it was a complex system for managing a massive, diverse population. His administration worked to create a more unified economic system, and punch-marked coins circulated widely, boosting trade across the land. The state invested heavily in agriculture and irrigation, which formed the backbone of the economy, ensuring both food and revenue. The principles of this powerful state are famously associated with Chanakya's masterwork on statecraft, the Arthashastra. While scholars believe the text as we know it today was compiled over centuries, it reflects the kind of political strategy that fueled the Mauryan rise. But the most famous Mauryan ruler was Chandragupta's grandson, Ashoka. He started his reign as a ruthless conqueror, expanding the empire to its absolute limits. This ambition led him to Kalinga, on India's east coast. The Kalinga War was horrifically brutal. According to Ashoka's own inscriptions carved on rock pillars for all to see, 100,000 people were killed in the fighting, with many more perishing from its effects, and 150,000 were deported. What happened next was one of history's most dramatic changes of heart. Struck by immense remorse, Ashoka renounced violent conquest. He embraced Buddhism not just as a personal faith, but as a foundation for his rule. He switched from a policy of military victory to what he called conquest by dharma, winning people over through righteousness and duty. His later reign marked a long period of relative peace and stability, an era defined by social harmony and public welfare. He built hospitals for people and animals, constructed roads for travelers, and promoted religious tolerance. Under Ashoka, the Mauryan Empire showed that true power wasn't just about conquering lands, but about shaping a just society. The Gupta Empire, circa 320 to 550 CE. After the Mauryas fell, India fragmented once again. It took centuries for another great power to rise in the north, the Gupta Empire. Its reign is often called the Golden Age of India. The Guptas may not have controlled as much territory as the Mauryas, but their impact on science, art, and culture was immense. Under emperors like Chandragupta I and Samudragupta, the empire became a hub of prosperity and intellectual life. This era saw a great flourishing of Hindu culture, philosophy, and science. The Gupta court was famed for its Navaratna, or 9 jewels, a legendary group of brilliant scholars. It was during this period that Indian mathematics made incredible leaps. The concepts of zero as a placeholder and the decimal system had been developing in India for centuries, and they were further systematized and advanced during this time, innovations that would eventually change the entire world. The brilliant astronomer Aryabhata, working in the late 5th century, calculated the value of pi with stunning accuracy, argued that the Earth was a sphere that rotated on its axis, and explained solar and lunar eclipses. These were revolutionary ideas, far ahead of their time. This wasn't just an age of science, it was an age of breathtaking art. The poet Kalidasa often called the Shakespeare of India, wrote timeless plays and poems in Sanskrit. Some of India's earliest surviving and most influential freestanding Hindu temples were built, setting an architectural blueprint for centuries. And while work began earlier, some of the most magnificent murals in the Ajanta caves were created under the patronage of the neighbouring Vakataka dynasty, who were contemporaries of the Guptas. Their vibrant scenes offer an incredible window into the life and beliefs of the time. Exquisite stone sculptures with serene expressions also became a hallmark of the era's art. The stability and prosperity of the Gupta Empire created the perfect conditions for this cultural explosion. Their efficient administration and control of trade routes filled the treasury, which in turn funded the arts and sciences. The legacy of the Guptas isn't found in the size of their borders, but in the towering achievements of their artists and thinkers. The Chola Empire, circa 850 to 1279 CE. While the Guptas were shaping classical civilization in the north, a different kind of power was rising in the south. This was the Chola Empire, one of history's longest ruling dynasties, and India's greatest maritime power. The Cholas proved an empire's strength wasn't just measured by land, but by the seas it commanded. From their heartland in the fertile Kaveri River Delta, the Cholas built a commercial and military empire that projected its power across the Indian Ocean. Under legendary emperors like Rajaraja I and his son Rajendra I, the Chola navy became one of the most formidable forces in the region. This wasn't just a coastal fleet, it was a powerful navy capable of launching massive overseas expeditions. And they did just that. The Cholas conquered Sri Lanka and the Maldives. In a stunning show of force, they launched a naval campaign against the powerful Srivijaya kingdom in Southeast Asia, which controlled the vital Strait of Malacca. This wasn't about conquering territory, it was a strategic move to secure and influence the incredibly profitable trade routes to China and the Spice Islands. The Cholas dominated this maritime trade for a time, bringing staggering wealth back to their kingdom. This wealth funded incredible cultural achievements. The Cholas were prolific temple builders, and the ultimate symbol of their power and faith is the Brihadisvara temple in their capital, Tanjavur. Completed around 1010 CE, its main tower soars over 200 feet high and is capped by a single 80-ton block of granite, a stunning engineering marvel. The temple was the center of the city's social and economic life. The Cholas also developed a remarkably sophisticated system of local self-government, where village assemblies had significant autonomy. This decentralized approach helped them efficiently govern their realm. The Cholas left a legacy that shaped the economic and cultural map of the entire Indian Ocean. The Vijayanagara Empire, circa 1336 to 1646 CE. As the Delhi Sultanate pushed south, a new Hindu empire rose to resist it, becoming a bastion of South Indian power for over 300 years. This was the Vijayanagara Empire, named for its capital, Vijayanagara, the City of Victory. Founded by two brothers, Harihara I and Bukharaya I, the empire's capital was built on the banks of the Tungabhadra River. This city, known today as Hampi, grew into one of the largest and wealthiest cities in the medieval world. European travellers who visited at its height, like the Portuguese merchant Domingo Paes, wrote in awe of what they saw. Bustling markets where gems like diamonds and rubies were sold openly in the streets. The empire reached its peak under Emperor Krishna-devaraya. A brilliant military general and a savvy ruler, he was widely seen as one of the most powerful and influential rulers in the subcontinent at the time. But Krishna-devaraya wasn't just a warrior. He was a great patron of art and literature. His reign is considered a golden age for Telugu literature, and his court was home to a legendary group of poets known as the Ashtadiggajs, or Eight Elephants. The unique architectural style of Vijayanagara also blossomed under his rule. The ruins of Hampi, now a UNESCO World Heritage Site, still whisper of this glory. The Vittala temple complex is a masterpiece, famous for its stone chariot and its musical pillars, stone columns that produce musical tones when tapped. The entire city was a marvel of urban planning, protected by 7 lines of fortifications that enclosed not just palaces and temples, but reservoirs and farms. The empire's end was swift and brutal. A coalition of Deccan sultanates united against it, and in 1565, the Vijayanagara army was defeated at the Battle of Talikota. The capital was sacked and left in ruins. Though a shadow of the empire survived for a while, its golden era was over. Still, Vijayanagara remains a powerful symbol of South Indian resistance, wealth, and cultural brilliance. The Mughal Empire, 1526 to 1857 CE. No list of India's great powers is complete without the Mughal Empire. This dynasty ruled for over 3 centuries, unifying a vast majority of the subcontinent and leaving behind an unparalleled legacy of art, architecture, and administration. The empire was founded by Babur, a descendant of Genghis Khan and Timur, who swept into India from Central Asia, but it was his grandson, Akbar, who truly forged the Mughal state. Akbar's reign was a masterclass in governance. He created a robust administrative system with a unique framework called the Mansabdari system to organize the empire's nobility and military. Each official held a rank and was required to maintain a certain number of horsemen, ensuring a loyal army accountable directly to the emperor. Akbar was also a visionary when it came to taxes. With the help of brilliant administrators like Raja Toda Mal, he implemented a sophisticated land revenue system that was both fair and efficient. But perhaps Akbar's most defining policy was Sul-e-Kul, or peace for all. As a Muslim ruling a predominantly Hindu population, Akbar pursued a policy of religious tolerance. He abolished the tax on non-Muslims and invited scholars from all faiths to his court for debates. This policy of inclusion became the bedrock of the empire's unity. The absolute peak of Mughal artistic achievement came under Akbar's grandson, Shah Jahan. Obsessed with building, he commissioned magnificent structures blending Persian, Indian, and Islamic styles. His most famous creation, of course, is the Taj Mahal. Built as a tomb for his wife Mumtaz Mahal, the ivory-white marble monument is a symbol of eternal love. Its perfect symmetry, meant to be an earthly replica of paradise, it remains the most recognized symbol of the Mughal legacy. The empire began its long, slow decline under the reign of Aurangzeb. His reversal of Akbar's inclusive policies and endless, costly military campaigns drained the treasury and stirred rebellion. But even in decline, the Mughal Empire's influence on Indian culture, from food and fashion to law and language, is undeniable. The Maratha Empire, circa 1674 to 1818 CE, as the mighty Mughal Empire started to crack, a new power rose from the rugged hills of the Western Deccan to challenge it. This was the Maratha Empire, a fierce and resilient force that would shatter Mughal dominance and become the premier power in 18th century India. The empire's founder was the legendary Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. A master of guerrilla warfare, or Ganimi Kava, Shivaji used small, swift cavalry units to launch lightning-fast raids on larger, slower-moving Mughal armies. He would strike and then vanish into his network of formidable hill forts. This style of warfare was perfectly suited to the mountainous terrain and allowed him to carve out an independent Maratha kingdom against overwhelming odds. Shivaji also built a formidable navy to protect the Konkan coast and its trade. After Shivaji, the empire transformed into a confederacy led by hereditary prime ministers known as the Peshwas. Under powerful Peshwas like Bajirao I, Maratha cavalry thundered across the subcontinent. From their base in Maharashtra, they expanded their influence north into Delhi and east towards Bengal. At its zenith, the Maratha Empire controlled a vast swathe of territory. For a time, they were the dominant power across much of India, and the Mughal emperor in Delhi was often a ruler in name only, under their influence and protection. The Marathas' rapid expansion was finally checked at the Third Battle of Panipat in 1761. This devastating conflict didn't destroy their power, but it halted their northward advance and exposed cracks in the Confederacy. Internal rivalries and a series of wars with the rising British East India Company eventually led to their downfall. The Marathas stand as the last great indigenous empire to dominate the subcontinent before the era of colonial rule, leaving a legacy of fierce independence and military innovation. Conclusion. From the Mauryan vision of a unified subcontinent to the Chola mastery of the seas, from the Gupta's golden age of science to Vijayanagara's city of victory, from the Mughals' architectural wonders to the Marathas' fierce resistance, the history of pre-colonial India is a saga of incredible power, wealth, and creativity. These empires weren't just names in a history book. They built cities that awed the world, created art that still inspires us, and developed systems that governed millions. Their stories remind us that long before colonial powers arrived, the Indian subcontinent was the stage for some of the world's most magnificent empires, whose legacies are still with us today. Which of these empires do you find the most fascinating? Are there other great kingdoms you think deserve a spot on this list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this look into India's epic past, be sure to subscribe for more stories from history.